Hey, it's 7:15. I mean 7:15 a.m. It is January 20th. I just uploaded a video and I'm making another video. The days the sun's up and it looks like it's going to be another one of those gray days. Hopefully the sun will come out eventually, but it's just kind of looks like it's going to rain or something. But I wanted to come on here and make another video because more thoughts come into my mind. I'm not comfortable with what happened at all. And, I look at this situation as very tragic because, I'm sitting here dealing with a situation that I didn't create. I mean, how is it that a person could cause another person so much financial harm and just sit back and be okay with it? I'm not okay with this. And I'm dealing with a lot of stress and depression because, I feel as though, I said I'm not comfortable with knowing that my son is struggling so much when we didn't even, deserve this. And I understand that a lot of people are thinking, well, go ahead and get a job. But how do you get a job when people do not respond to your calls? They don't do anything. They do not do anything. Okay? So, I'm very disturbed by the situation that these people caused. And the message I'm getting right now is that everyone regrets not listening to me in the beginning. I was right all along. I told them that this was going to happen. Okay? So at this time, what are people going to do about my problems? And yeah, it's their responsibility to fix it. I should not have to lift one fucking finger for it. Okay? And yes, of course, I do look for work. Okay? And I will tell you, getting on job boards like Indeed.com or looking for work in general, okay, does cause psychological problems. And I'll tell you why. Because, I was overexposed. I didn't ask for people to sit here and be fixated and show me all this excess attention. I did not ask to be brought into job interviews for interrogation. I did not ask to be highlighted at all. At all. Okay? And, I resent Bruce Collins for, like I said, I cannot make any sense of Bruce Collins being a part of my life. No, at all. Okay. Now I know that Mary Gordon didn't pay attention to what I was saying. Mary Gordon was my adoptive mother. She ignored what I said about not having Bruce to be a part of my life. Okay. Okay. So let's just assume that Bruce was a part of my life covertly with his bizarre stalking. In the early days a little bit after I had Houston, and then maybe all the way up to after he met Sarah. After he met Sarah, he should have never been a part of my life anyway, but especially after he met Sarah. And the very fact that I do get the intuitive feeling that he brought Kevin Pepper involved in this, I believe Joel Graham was involved in this, and I just believe that it was nothing more than a hate crime, period. The message I'm getting right now is that, yes, Bruce wanted to change my lifestyle, because I personally believe that he was jealous because his life may have changed drastically after he married Sarah. Okay, and like I said, I don't know if Sarah was a Jehovah's Witness or not. And like I said, when I knew Bruce was not an active Jehovah's Witness. He was actually not an official Jehovah's Witness, because you are an official Jehovah's Witness when you get baptized. Okay, and Bruce, as far as I knew, was never baptized. And based on his life and how he was living his life, the last time I went to San Francisco and saw him, he was not doing anything that resembled, there was no watchtower information in his house. He was dating a girl that he was obviously sleeping with. So I don't believe that he was a Jehovah's Witness. Now, he might have married Sarah. Who might have married Sarah, who was a Jehovah's Witness, okay? And why I question whether Sarah was a Jehovah's Witness or not is because, from what I understand, Sarah had a good job and she worked at Camping World, I think, okay? Now, I know growing up, anytime, I would mention any sort of higher education, any plans for higher education, everybody in the Jehovah's Witness group would sit there and talk down about it and tell me how, the end of the world was coming and there was really no point in getting an education, and that, pursuing anything relating to the world, was wrong. What people were supposed to be doing was spending most of their time, going door to door in the ministry work, okay, or whatever, right? This is what they were big into. They would talk down education any chance they got. So, Sarah, being in the age group that me and Bruce are in, we're in our 50s. So I'm assuming Sarah's in the same age group. And I do know that Jehovah's Witnesses do have things like they call it new light, where they say every once in a while that they came to revelations of having new information. Like, for example, about, like, okay, for example, the 144,000. There were years where they were inaccurate about that, and then they turned around and said, okay, well, this is what it means based on our new understanding. So maybe they received new understanding to where they were open to the idea of going to college. I do know that when I talked to Amanda many years ago, who was a Jehovah's Witness, she said she was going out to Bakersfield College. Okay, so maybe Jehovah's Witnesses changed that rule, especially seeing as how, unfortunately, a lot of people felt as though, the job market was competitive. Okay, so let's just assume that Bruce, right, married Sarah, right, and they weren't compatible. Let's just assume they weren't compatible, right? And so maybe Bruce was expected to give up his rave lifestyle, right? Because that's what the industry that he was working in was, setting up for bands, listening to music all night, doing rave parties, okay? Which, rave parties are kind of funny when you're in your 50s. But anyway, okay, so maybe he married her so that he could settle down, and maybe that lifestyle was not conducive to who he really was. This is what I'm thinking. Maybe that's what it was, because, and then when he was married to Sarah, he thought that I was Jehovah's Witness, or still had association with Jehovah's Witnesses. I'm not Jehovah's Witness. So he may have started looking at me like on Facebook, right? Yeah, this would make sense, right? Because I talked about in 2008, my so-called friends were acting weird to me on Facebook. And that could very well be because of Bruce Collins was stalking me. See, now, Bruce got married, I believe, in 2006. This issue with Facebook happened in 2008. So maybe he was starting to hate his life, and he saw me on Facebook and thought, how come Maria's life is, the same? Because I'm not a Jehovah's Witness. And see, he didn't understand that I was and I remember when I met Bruce, I told him, my family was not Jehovah's Witness. I told him that we studied with Jehovah's Witnesses, but no one in my family liked Jehovah's Witnesses, especially after we studied with them, okay? I was criticized for studying with Jehovah's Witnesses. When I was in school, I remember the kids at school were like, if you had to choose any religion, why did you have to choose that one? They were all making fun of it, downgrading it, thinking that, they disrespected it 100%. They did not appreciate any of the idea of me studying to be a Jehovah's Witness, okay? So my association with Jehovah's Witnesses was optional. I could either attend the meetings or I could leave anytime I want to. You know why? Because I never even tried to be a publisher. A publisher is somebody like Bruce. Bruce was not baptized, but he was able to go door to door. That's, you can go door to door and you can hand out like Watchtower tracts and publications, but that does not mean that you're an official Jehovah's Witness, right? So Bruce was an inactive publisher, okay? Meaning that he wasn't even doing that. I don't believe he was going to any of the meetings in San Francisco. I believe he was just living his life as a raver and without religion. I don't believe that he was any religion at that time practicing. So I believe that Bruce was miserable, and then he thought that he could bring me into his misery. I do not want anything to do with Jehovah's Witnesses, and I say this peacefully. You know what I mean? It's just, I made a decision not to do this. So I know that he got all these other people involved, right? We had LDS involved. We had, Tanya, Jim, who were not Jehovah's Witnesses. And I know Jim hated Jehovah's Witnesses. He talked about me, him not liking me studying Jehovah's Witnesses material when I was in high school or whatever, okay? So all this big group of people got together and literally destroyed my life. Destroyed it. Okay, so here I am now, right, dealing with this issue relating to my rent, and it's not even my fault. It's not my fault, okay? It pisses me off. The message I'm getting right now is that everyone, once again, everyone regrets not listening to me in the beginning. Okay, there's always consequences to your actions, okay, and I'm tired of dealing with the consequences. Okay, it's like, nobody asked you to follow me to Bakersfield. Nobody asked you to find me jobs. Nobody asked you to, try to change my life. My life is exactly the way it's supposed to be. Okay? I really resent you coming in here, trying to, enact your menticide tactics on me, especially when it's completely unwanted. I made a decision not to be a Jehovah's Witness for a reason. Okay? Because I knew I could not handle it. Okay? I did not want a Jehovah's Witness husband. I did not want to raise my kid in the Jehovah's Witness faith. Okay? And I had good reason for it. I studied the people in the congregation. I studied their behavior. I studied their family dynamics, and I didn't want it. Okay? Seriously, when I consider something, I study the whole shebang. So, like, if I was invited to somebody's house, I'm studying how the husband interacts with the wife. I'm interacting. I mean, I'm studying how they're interacting with their kids. Does this sound like a good life to me? Is Jehovah's Witnesses where I want to go? And the answer was no. Okay, so then Bruce thought that he could corral me back into going to the Kingdom Hall. And my mind was thinking, if I have to be a Jehovah's Witness, I'd rather die. Okay, I don't want to be one. So the message I'm getting right now is that, he might have exposed my son to being a Jehovah's Witness, or the idea of it. My son is not a Jehovah's Witness, okay? Nor is he any religion, okay, that I know of, okay? And if Tucson decides to be a part of a religion, he doesn't have to ask for my permission. He is an adult and he can do what he wants. For real, says the law. Okay. So anyway, yeah, I'm upset because, there's things I have to handle today. I don't like interacting with people, and the reason why I don't like interacting with people is because of what Bruce did. Okay? I get tired of, talking to people and me always feeling like, I don't trust you. I can't trust you. I will never trust another person again. After dealing with this, like somebody coming into your life, right? And you telling them not to. And then people allow them to. And then they end up destroying stuff. And you're sitting here screaming at the top of your lungs, making videos, making it very clear that you're victimized by this. And it continues to happen. And it didn't stop. This went on for 10 fucking years. 10 years. Okay, ever since I made this channel. So, when it comes to people my last job at Rex Laverne's place, the reason why I freaked out, okay? That was the last place I worked. And what happened was, it was an accumulation of me having literally a mental meltdown when I left what is his place? What is his name? Rex Laverne's place. Why? Because it was very reminiscent of what was going on at Murray Family Farms. Okay, I remember I was in communication with the lady over at Integrity Bookkeeping Service, right? She was the one who kind of manned the company's books over there. And so she was saying nice things about me. She's like, well, Rex, she's doing this, she's doing that. Isn't that wonderful? And Rex was totally ignoring it, just like Steve Murray did. Okay, they were giving me a title of an office clerk. Okay, and like I said, I'm not big on titles. It's not a big deal. But I could tell right then and there that I was being positioned I was getting jobs, right, that were not going to help build my career. Okay, like go back to Murray Family Farms. I was going to school to be a CPA. Okay, and then after leaving Murray Family Farms, what did I want to do? I wanted to get right back to work. And every job that I was given by this particular network that I did not ask to be a part of my life was outside of my expectations. So that gave me no reason to believe that I was ever going to be a CPA, that my dreams were never going to come to fruition, and I was being confused. I was giving jobs that were not where I needed to go. Okay? And so when Rex Laverne was ignoring my work, right, he was not acknowledging that. And when the time I realized that, I was not I was basically set up in a job that was going to not ever go anywhere. That means he did not have a system in place to where I was going to be evaluated for raises, promotions, or any sort of advancement, right? And guess what? That scared the hell out of me. And then on top of all of that disrespect, he wanted to reach out and touch me. By that time, I freaked the hell out. It's like the exploitation is too much. The abuse is too much. It's too much. Okay, I could not take it. So then I was like, okay, he touched me, and then I told him, do not come to the office. Do not come into the office, okay? I was like, can you I don't know, but I could not take it anymore. I couldn't. I could not stand looking at him. I could not deal with it because here we are with another situation that is just like Murray Family Farms, and I couldn't hack it. I could not take it. So I ended up getting unemployment, right? I got my unemployment. My unemployment ran out, okay? So then when I tried to go to the social service department, right, to get on some, like, social assistance, they denied me that. They would not let me do that, right? And the thing is that this is a result of their little collaborative effort, okay? They had no right to sit here and do this to me at all, okay? And so, yeah, it bothered me. What happened at Rex Laverne's place bothered me because I was getting demoted, right, because of me not complying with what Bruce wanted me to do. And I have no reason to. I'm tired of dealing with their bullying. You know what I mean? And being called an office clerk and not being in a job where you're getting evaluated properly. Yes, I believe, as people do not know how to run businesses. They do not know how to engage their employees. They do not know how to give their employees anything to strive for. Okay, I was in a dead end job at Rex Laverne's place. It was a dead end. Okay, and yes, I care about being able to advance. Why? Because I'm older. I need to be able to feel secure, like I have some sort of nest egg or something is going to come out of it. Okay, when you deal with people who purposely ignore your contributions in the workplace, okay, that is a red flag, and you just best believe you should be scared. The message I'm getting right now has something about me being single. Okay, I should not be penalized for being single when I do not have anyone I can trust. Okay, number one, I was born in this, okay, MK Ultra, yes, okay, but the issue is that the negative rumors started in the church. Why? Because of the CB Berganza issue. That right there gave me a bad reputation, not just in a community, but everywhere. Everywhere. Okay, that means that people you meet, right, know who you are from church based on what people have described you with. I don't have anyone I can trust. Okay, what social responsibility, this is what I'm saying, doing this in churches, right, talking about clones or, certain people and talking about them is socially irresponsible. You know why? Because you create toxicity and then it gets inflicted on that person. Okay, so I got penalized for being single because I know I can't trust people. I can't trust, there's not one person I can trust. Not one. And so they want to penalize me because why? I'm not going to be compliant and just walk myself willingly, walk myself into an abusive situation. I'm supposed to just be like, oh yeah, I'm going to comply with Bruce, or I'm going to comply with anyone else. Bruce or any other freak who's going to sit here and manipulate and control me financially and exploit me. I don't have, as if I don't have the right to protect myself. Well, the law says something different, and I'm tired of it. The message I'm getting right now is that, yes, the community agrees the 533 kids and the Collins involvement was inappropriate, especially after the adoption discovery. When I realized I was adopted, I did, it took me a while to, formulate this, and I've said it several times. You're not my family. Get away. Okay? Leave me alone. Okay, knock it off. Okay, clear it up. Whatever. Still, these people thought, okay, they ramped it up. They ramped it up when you dipped into my bank account. Okay, then you ended up screwing up my son's money. Okay, after all of that. So tell me, how am I not supposed to be terrorized by what these people did? I'm terrorized. Okay, I'm very terrorized. The message I'm getting right now is, I'm on the right track, so I'm right. Everything I'm saying is right, okay? And these people know exactly what they did. They caused the problem. So going forward, I think it's really important for people to understand the issue of social responsibility. Social responsibility goes across the board in many different situations. Just like, managers that sit there and say, oh, you're never working this town again, or they bully an employee in front of other people. That's socially irresponsible. That's socially irresponsible. You know why? Because anytime you say something about another person or mistreat another person, you are basically condoning other people to do it, especially if you're in a position of management. Social responsibility, that means people are suffering consequences for the stupid actions that you did. Okay. So anytime you say something about a person, okay, they are going to pay a consequence for that. It could either be them being ostracized, bullied, financially exploited, or whatever. So I'm going to tell you, none of the managers or none of the people that I worked for were socially responsible. They were all socially irresponsible. And I'm dealing with the brunt of their problems. Okay, so my question is, who is supposed to handle that? Not me. I'm tired of dealing with it. I didn't deserve it. Okay, so like I said, it was inappropriate for the community to assist these people, especially after it was came to understand that I was adopted. Period. Period. No explanation. No excuse. No excuse. Because you knew good and well this was a high key indicator that this was nothing but human trafficking. And so a couple nights ago, me and my son were talking, and he was like, "Mom, stop calling that human trafficking." He might be thinking that it's not human trafficking because all of these people gathered around, right, and wanted to see my father's apparition or whatever, okay? It is still human trafficking. You know why? Because my life has been directed into situations that I didn't ask for, such as the job at Rex Laverne's place, okay? Being an office clerk did nothing for me. That doesn't do anything for me. Okay, so I have to look at my jobs as assignments, meaning, okay, so this is the reason why I created Gordon's Occupational Engineering, because I'm tired of being affected by what these people did. Okay, I do not look at myself as an office clerk, nor should I ever have to have that title, especially because it is not about being arrogant. It's about knowing at my age that I have the ability to grow and that I'm going to be able to, advance. Because I need to. At a certain age, you should not be sitting here playing these sort of games. Yeah, I take my stuff seriously, okay? And yes, I get very emotional about it, and I come on here and make these videos because it shocks me that these people have jobs, okay? And the reason why they have jobs is because of Bruce having some sort of network that allowed for this to happen. And no, these people do not belong in these positions. The message I'm getting right now is that my son is aware of him not being able to trust people, and that he also agrees with me. Now, he hasn't said this, but this is what I'm intuitive, picking up, that he does agree that once I was discovered that I was adopted, it should have been the end of the deal. Like, you should have just the trafficking network should have made the announcements to all the important people, like Karen Go and Eric Arias should have made announcements within the entire community, okay? And anywhere, within this community, at least the community. Why? Because these people knew what was going on with Bruce Collins. I included Eric Arias in the notification that was going on in my bank account, and he also was a part of my blast for, I have a blast, my Gordon's Occupational Engineering, okay? So he knew that I was a victim of human trafficking because I sent him my materials. I sent him my materials, okay? So it was their responsibility to clear this up. Every employer in this community, every law enforcement representative in this community should know that this targeting needs to stop. Bruce Collins is not responsible for my life. He should have never had anything to do with my life, and that is the way it is. Okay. Now, I need to figure out what I'm going to do. Because, I'm tired of seeing my son struggle for something that he should have never struggled for. Okay, I never wanted my son to know Bruce in the first place. Okay, I was the one who kept his name off the birth certificate on purpose. Because I didn't want him to know his dad. Okay? So the message I'm getting right now is that people do regret not listening to me in the beginning. I was right all along. I was right all along. Now, what else do I want to talk about? I want to talk about the bullying that I received from people, and the inconveniences that people have caused me as a result of me being highlighted as a targeted individual when I didn't deserve it. Okay? And this is what Bruce has left in the community because of what he did and because of these people participating in it. Okay? I'm tired of my son struggling, and I'm doing the best I can, and like I said, if these people believe that I could just go out and find a job quickly, okay, they were very unrealistic about that. And you know why? Because there's too many components into finding a job. Number one, you have to apply for a job, okay? And then you got to wait for a bunch of unmotivated people in their job to review who actually applied to the job. And then these people are supposed to respond by contacting you, okay? And then, of course, I try to take the initiative to reach out to them, and then they don't even know how to answer the phone, okay? They don't even know how to answer the phone. Oh, I don't know who that person is. Oh, I don't know. I mean, seriously, there are a lot of unprofessional people who do not deserve their positions, okay, that I have to deal with in order to get to the main person. And now, because I'm going to tell you what, corporate America is so screwed up right now, okay? You'll go to like a company website, and it's very difficult to get in touch with any of the key players, okay? Now, back in the 90s, it was easy to communicate with people, okay? So everything about the work structure, the work culture, the corporate America, or however you want to call it, the corporate setup, is screwed up. All of it, okay? I don't think any of it's good. Now, I'm glad that people now finally realize that they should have dropped it right then and there. So they should have stopped this in 2023. Right when I said, I'm adopted. Kids of 533 should have been booted out. Anything that they said should have been just like, in one ear and out the other or whatever. Okay. So then now we're going to answer the question of Bruce. Bruce, maybe people were trying to force me into a relationship with Bruce because I'm not married. Okay. Like I said, that to me that right there is sexual harassment. Stay out of people's personal relationships. Okay. Because this is exactly how people can get stopped in the workplace. People are like, oh, but that's her boyfriend, or that was her ex-boyfriend, or that was her son's father, or that was who. It's like, you know what? It's illegal to do that, okay? It's illegal, okay? It's illegal, okay? This is how trafficking, one of the biggest ways trafficking gets done, is through the allowance of this sort of nonsense. These people who accommodate stalkers, and that's exactly what they did. They accommodated these people. So when I was over there, at that manufactured homes place, right? The reason why Joe was acting that way, that lady, that secretary, she was being the mouthpiece for these evil people. That's all she was being. Okay? So Bruce didn't have any good intentions for me. He was a pathologically sick person who was sitting here targeting me out of frustration. Number one, the disappointment of his own life and his unhappiness. I'm not responsible for that. Okay? But I had to deal with the most irate, evil, wicked people, right? For no reason. All because of Bruce. Okay? So this is why I'm saying, I'm addressing Donald Trump. Look, this sort of stuff needs to stop. And also, I really do feel as though this should be made a law. To where, not law as to when people get caught with this bullshit. Like Bruce Collins, his stupid, anytime you launch religious campaigns against another individual, that should be penalized. That should be penalized severely, okay? Severely. You know why? Because of the psychological reaction that it gets from people. Just like when my dad used to tell me, you know what, Maria, it used to be against the law to yell fire, okay? Fire in a crowded theater, okay? And I used to like, well, why would that be illegal? Why was that, you could get punished for that, Dad? Why? And he told me it's because it creates a panic in people, and people are going to be racing for the exit door, and people could get trampled to death. Okay, there's always a cause and effect to everything. Okay, so just like when you sit here and launch your religious wars in the United States of America, which should have never happened in the first place, okay, this creates people having all kinds of weird psychological issues, and it creates a negative environment. Okay, and it always has a negative reaction. So when it comes to this sort of thing where people want to initiate gang stalking activity, human trafficking, forced marriages, so on and so forth, the laws need to be stricter on this issue. And they need to be quick, okay? Because I've been arguing this shit for 10 goddamn years, okay? Begging for my life, scared as hell, okay? And not one person took any accountability for it. The message I'm getting right now is, yeah, even Donald Trump recognizes that he regrets this. He regrets listening to these people, okay? I was right all along. And yeah, the adoption thing, that should have just like, oh my God. The adoption, when I noticed I was adopted, it should have stopped. Okay. I don't know if Sarah, it works in conjunction with Bruce, or did she leave Bruce, or whatever. Just the whole thing. Okay, I would never be in a network, right, with an ex and their spouse, as well as some of my exes and some of these people. All of these people were haters. They were all abusers. Okay, and Bruce thought it was okay for all these people to be a part of it. I will tell you, the reason why he thought that is because it was a hate campaign. It was a hate crime. Bruce Collins was a hate crime. And all of these employers that participated in it were a part of it too. A hate crime. So even the guy over at Manufactured Homes regrets doing this. And why he regrets it? Probably because it damaged his reputation, okay? It's not that he cares about what happened to me. Okay? But what happened to me is absolutely devastating. Okay? So I'm the only one who cares about what happens to Maria, and it's obvious, okay? This is the reason why I have these fucking legal fees assessed to my rent payment for something that I didn't deserve. Now, what about my father? Okay? Hopefully I will find a job soon. We will see how things go. But, it's very difficult when you deal with a lot. Number one, the unprofessional people. Okay? It seems like right after that nonsense about removing the DEI issue, and I'm not saying that it's because of that, but I'm saying it's right around that time period, okay, where we had all these people filling in these positions and thinking that religion was how you run a workplace. It seems as though dealing with any sort of employee personnel for anything, even customer service or whatever, it has gone to shit. All of it. And the message I'm getting is because of the network creating their drama. You had no right to create drama. You had no right. Okay, and the message I'm getting is something about people have researched, the CIA issue. Okay, yeah, probably CIA was probably looking at me because of the exaggerated rumor of Lisa thinking that I can do anything. Okay, and also something about my father's apparition. Okay, my father's apparition, I don't know much about it other than it's been following me throughout my life. Now, maybe when I was CB Braganza, I may have been aware at some point that, yes, his apparition was around me. At maybe one point, I don't believe I could have ever physically seen it, okay? But I may have just realized that it was there, like it was my comfort, okay? I do now understand that my father does come around, right? And I do remember knowing that his presence was around, especially after leaving Murray Family Farms. I told you about the story when I was burning 3 candles and two of the candles, broke, right? I do believe that there was some sort of contact, but I have never physically seen my father. The only time I physically saw my father after he died was one time I was spending the night at somebody's house and I was looking inside of a television set. You know how it goes off in the middle of the night? Back in the days where, I think it's called analog televisions, where like you look at that snow, right? And I remember seeing that face, right? But other than that, I do not physically see my father. Like if I look up and if my father was standing there, I would not see him. Okay, now maybe it might get caught up on camera, and then special people who have that gift. Like I said, I have several type metaphysical gifts, okay? But seeing spirits is not one of them, okay? I know, like my mom's sister, Mary Gordon's sister, Pearl, right? She had the ability to see them because she was born with a caw over her eyes, okay? So she said she saw spirits all the time. I don't see them. So, but people thought that I was being arrogant walking down the street with my father's apparition, as if I would do that. Now, if I knew that my father's apparition was going to be seen, I would say, because I understand that me being an occultist is something rather controversial, even though I'm not doing anything dark, okay? I would know better than to just parade around with my father's apparition as if I'm just walking it like a dog or something outside being all normal. Like, that's absurd. But see, I was dealing with a lot of very vicious people who were not thinking straight, and they were blaming me for everything. I will tell you, my son does not realize just how sick and toxic the hate campaigns were against me because of what Bruce launched. Okay, so anything that I did was my fault. They didn't care about the explanation. They didn't even care that they were willing to punish me for being CB Braganza, and I didn't even know I was CB Braganza until 2023. So I'm going to tell you right now, I've dealt with the hate crime. I've dealt with hate for 10 consecutive years when I didn't deserve it. Okay, anyway, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this video. And yes, I'm uploading this video because I need to feel better. And that's what I'm going to do. So anyway, I will get back with another video sometime later. Thank you. Bye.